Bob, so great to see you.
Good to see you, Andy.
Outstanding. So, been a big year in programmatic, a big sea change perhaps. I don't know. What's happened this year and what's going to happen next year?
Yeah, I think there's probably 5 different ideas that I have about what we're going to see in 2015. And they sort of range the gamut of sort of what's happening in the trends in the industry. But I feel like we've done a really, really good job in the programmatic area around placement. And I think my first prediction is to really think about how we take placement and how we overlay creative on top of it. Where we've actually been able to look at creativity on top of placement, we've actually seen an increase in sort of conversion or interaction from a customer, like by 30%. So we know, just like in the old world with search, when we used to just change copy, that we know that now we have placement either on a mobile device or on a desktop device, or either through video. If we can actually overlay different creative, we can actually fundamentally change the interaction that we're having with customers. So that's really the first one. I think we're going to see a rise of sort of creative activity on top of placement, which is pretty cool. The second prediction, I think, is that brands are going to really want to own their data. I think the insight that the brands are garnering around sort of the programmatic aspects and the digital ownership of data is really, really an important aspect. And I think brands, you start to see a lot of brands and agencies building their own DMPs, their data management platforms, so that they can actually really get underneath and really see what the data is and understand consumer behaviors in a different way. So this idea of someone else owning your data, I think will go away in 2015, and I think a lot of brands are going to sort of insist that they have insights into that and can use it differently. I also think that the brands and the agencies that have leaned in hard on programmatic in 2014 are going to reap tons of benefits in 2015. So 2014, people sort of dipped their toe a little bit into programmatic. I think the people who have done that and are confident with what programmatic can do from an efficiency standpoint and from a data standpoint are really just going to ride that trend in 2015, because I think more and more publishers, marketplaces are going to be more and more established, and I think that the tools are going to be able to sort of plug in together. So this is sort of at a high level, sort of the predictions that'll happen. And the last one, probably the most controversial, I would think, is that I think the linear TV space is going to get very interested in programmatic. We're starting to see a lot of the supply companies on the linear TV side really think about, how do I automate my supply and placement of media, and how do I capture that data? And then if you look at that whole ecosystem all the way from display to linear TV, you really start to bring a solution to a media buyer in a really unique and interesting way. So I'm pretty excited about 2015. It should be great.
What is the opportunity kind of in the near term around programmatic TV?
It's interesting because everyone talks about this really big number of, I think the marketplace is $73 billion of linear TV advertising that happens. So there's a really big number out there, and I think you're absolutely right. In the local level, the scatter market, sort of in the fragmented marketplace, it is ripe for technology. And what we're finding is we actually have about 58 test campaigns in flight right now from advertisers, and we're seeing a significant amount of buying being done on our platform to just test the linear TV replacement. Now, the challenge with linear TV is we don't have real-time information. So what we have to do is we have to use predictive models to actually input into our real-time algorithms for multi-touch attribution to work. But that's sort of a nuance. It's sort of the trend. Over time, as TV gets IP enabled, we'll start to have real-time information. So actually, I believe now is the time to get a piece of that market. Even if it's just a small piece, Andy, it's a really big marketplace to go after.